it's Claire from WriteZone here, and if you know me, you'll know that one of the things that is a real bugbear for me is permissions, and why, as a publishing industry, it takes us so long to respond to people requesting permissions. You see it all the time on websites. Please allow 4 to 6 weeks. People get automatic email responses to their permissions requests saying that there'll be a delay, often unspecified, sometimes, again, weeks before they're going to hear back. And that's really terrible customer service. And there's nowhere else in our business where we would put up with that kind of poor customer service experience. So why is it that permissions is still this area where people tend to forget that we do actually have willing customers ready to part with their cash to buy something from us, but we're going to wait for a really long time before we let them do that? It's so backwards and twisted. What's behind that? What's the reason why it takes so long? And I think there are probably a few reasons. One obviously is, permissions are often put to the bottom of the pile with all the other things that a rights department is doing. Quite often they don't have dedicated resource, so they tend to pile up until somebody has time to get to them. They're often considered small beer, not really worth the time and effort that you need to spend on handling them. And then there's the problem of actually permissions can take quite a long time to deal with because you don't actually know whether or not you have the rights that people are requesting. So that entails research, going back through old contracts, old permissions agreements, contributor agreements, image library licenses, all sorts of things to try and track down exactly what rights you've got. And once you've worked that out, you've then got to get back to the customer. So there is a lot of work in it, but it doesn't have to be that complicated. And there are lots of things we can do as publishers to streamline this process. And it won't surprise you to learn that I'm going to say, get a good system. Even a spreadsheet will help you to track the rights that you have, and doing a project to really try and detail the rights that you have will make so many parts of your rights job easier. Not only will you be more efficient at responding to permissions, but you'll also be able to do things like sign up to big digital licenses, think about all the new AI licenses that publishers are doing. You need to have that detailed rights knowledge of what rights you've got in each title that you're going to put into one of those licenses in order to go ahead and enter into it. So really getting your rights in order is really critical. So having good systems can help not only in terms of tracking the rights that you have, but also just in improving that workflow, making it much quicker and easier. We've actually got some new functionality in WriteZone coming down the line where people can enter their request onto your web form and it will come straight into WriteZone, so you can issue a license without having to rekey any data. So that should be a really powerful time-saving tool when that's live later this year. So do come and chat to me if you want to find out more about that. If you're struggling with your permissions, then come and join me for my Profitable Permissions workshop on November the 26th, and we will talk a lot about how you can make the most of your permissions business and make sure that you bring down that response time whilst at the same time increasing revenue from your permissions.